Yo, what's up? Welcome to the Ant-Man channel on this Monday, the 8th of July, 2013. Very crucial and breaking news right now from WND.com. This is a front page article. I encourage every single person that sees this video to go to WND.com and to see the reaction of what people are starting to see now through the militarized police and the Department of Homeland Security, and all of this taking advantage of people that lived through the hurricanes and that the whole Zimmerman trial and everything. I mean, this is absolutely getting out of control. But the good thing is that people out there are waking up, and I have to be I am very I have to look at the good at all things, man. That's how I'm trained to think, and I see that that's a good thing. As long as people are waking up out there, that's a good thing, and I can't be too critical about it. WND exclusive. This is by Drew Zahn. Gun seizures trigger fear of massive police power. Is your front door no longer sacred? I guess not. Let's see what Drew Zahn has to write here. I really encourage you to go look at this article. There's 5 videos. There's one from Sun News, 2 from the NRA, 1 from Wall Street Journal, and the other from from CNN. All very good videos to watch. Gun seizures trigger fear of massive police power. Front page at WND.com. A flurry of recent stories about police knocking on, and sometimes knocking in, people's front doors have raised alarms in both the US and Canada about whether the home is still constitutionally protected from increasing police power. As WND reported, High River, Alberta has become a recent focal point of the controversy, when it was revealed that Royal Canadian Mounted Police entered the flooded town after a mandatory evacuation, broke down doors, and began confiscating several hundred firearms. The details are eerily reminiscent of New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina, when officers similarly invaded homes and confiscated thousands of weapons they uncovered. In High River, RCMP and province officials, because they're not your servants, they're officials, assured citizens the only guns taken were those improperly secured and in plain view, to be stored for safekeeping and returned to residents after the evacuation ended. But Michael Corin of Canada's Sun News says the authorities are lying, because we know that police actually broke locks to get into cupboards to find out if there were guns there. High River resident Cam Fleury believes his house, which sits at a high point free of floodwater, was targeted by the RCMP. The following video shows his front door was broken down and police made a beeline for his gun cabinet. And that's the first article that I was just saying, the Sun News. This whole area is the highest point in town, so there was no flood damage, Fleury told Sun News, so there was no reason for them to enter any of these houses. The RCMP's action drew a rebuke from Canada's Prime Minister Stephen Harper, whose office issued a statement. If any firearms were taken, we expect they will be returned to their owners as soon as possible. We believe the RCMP should focus on more important tasks such as protecting lives and private property. Yeah, that one thing that we used to have, property. Yet civil rights and gun advocates in the country warn that that's not good enough. Faith Goldley, who has been following the story for Sun News, is concerned about the information authorities were able to gather by invading people's homes. Now, they've got firearms serial numbers, they've got addresses, and there is no mechanism put in place for us now to force them to abolish what has basically become an emergency backdoor gun registry. There's absolutely no way, no how, you can justify going into people's homes and taking their property without a warrant, asserted Tony Bernardo of the Canadian Sports Shooting Association. This is Canada. We have laws here. People are protected from having an unwarranted search and seizure, Goldie added, yet that's exactly what happened here. Gun grabbing, nothing new in the U.S., Americans are similarly protected by the U.S. Constitution's Fourth Amendment, which states the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing this place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Well, I wonder why the Founding Fathers wrote the Fourth Amendment. Because maybe they thought, the government would go corrupt and try to do this to you and take your rights away? I mean, it's kind of obvious. Yet the Fourth Amendment was solely tried or outright ignored, depending on your perspective, when the residents of New Orleans faced similar floodwaters. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, thousands of weapons legally obtained and owned were similarly grabbed from citizens after New Orleans Police Superintendent P. Edwin Compass The third announced only law enforcement are allowed to have weapons. Just to make sure the message was loud and clear, the city's deputy police chief Warren Riley told ABC News, "No one will be able to be armed. We are going to take all the weapons." Then they did exactly that. One man at a post-Katrina meeting assembled in conjunction with the National Rifle Association said, "The bottom line is this. Once they did it, they set a precedent. And what we've got to be sure of is that the precedent stops here." In a series of videos, the National Rifle Association has documented the stunning weapons grab by police in New Orleans, assembling videos that shows them physically taking weapons from individuals, including one woman who was stunned when officers threw her against her kitchen wall because she had a small handgun for self-defense. And this wasn't just a woman. This was an elderly woman that they literally started punching while she was on the ground. I mean, this power-tripping idiocracy of the police, the militarized police, has got to stop, man. These guys have lower than 100 IQ, man. Why do you think whenever you see a guy going into the military, it's because he's trying to look for a job. You know, he's trying to find some opportunity in the world. That's the only reason why people go to the military. They have no other option. And you realize that these people are very uneducated, man. Herb Titus, a nationally known constitutional attorney and law professor, told W&D government's claim always in that such draconian powers will only be used in an emergency situation. But there are so many emergencies, he said, that all of our rights are in jeopardy. Well, to quote, Benjamin Franklin, he says, "Those that trade a little bit of liberty for a little bit of convenience, they deserve neither." And they won't have either as well, because that's exactly what you're doing. You give up your liberty for a little bit of convenience, and you get both taken away, son. The Boston emergency. Similarly startling videos were also captured in Boston earlier this year when police conducted a citywide manhunt in the aftermath of the Boston Marathon Islamic terror attack. Yeah, they had to shut down an entire city to look for an 18-year-old. Whoo-hoo-hoo! He must be a dangerous 18-year-old, you guys. I mean, whoa. You gotta shut down the whole city? You know what I mean? It's like, these guys are so transparent when they're trying not to be. It's hilarious. There they burst into homes and guns drawn, ordering residents out while they searched. Commentators said while homeowners were technically had the right to refuse a request for a search if officers didn't have a warrant, it seems unlikely that many residents of Watertown felt like exploring that particular legal nuance by refusing the policy entry. Merely expecting an emergency. As W&D has reported, the most recent example of a police state presence is developing even now in Sanford, Florida, where neighborhood watch participant George Zimmerman faces a nationally prominent, racially charged murder trial for the death of teenager Trayvon Martin. Police say they fear the backlash from the community when the jury verdict is delivered. Allah, huh? The days of rioting in Los Angeles when the Rodney King verdict came down. Oh, Allah, meaning Allah, the days of rioting in Los Angeles when the Rodney King verdict came down. That was a little different, though. This has nothing to do with racism. This had to do, I think, with a kid that was asking for a fight, and he got it by a guy who was willing to shoot him, you know? Unfortunately. I'm not saying I'm on either guy's side. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. But if you ask me, you cannot just choose sides because one is the same color skin as you. You gotta look you gotta look for the better in people, man. You can't just be like, whoa, okay, well, he's black, so I'm gonna be on his side because I don't like white people. That's not even intelligent, you guys. That's just retarded. Police say they fear the backlash from the community when the jury verdict is delivered. Already said that. So Sanford Police Chief Cecil Smith confirmed officers are going door to door talking to people. "Our worst fear is that we'd have people from outside the community coming in and stirring up violence," he said. "The police live here now, mom." Or ma'am. The police live here now, ma'am. Yet surprisingly, the Fourth Amendment isn't the only front door right to come under assault in recent months. As W&D reported, a lawsuit has been filed against the Henderson, Nevada Police Department over an incident in which its officers allegedly demanded to use a private home as a lookout for an investigation, then arrested the resident when he refused. It raises the unusual claim that the police violated the Third Amendment, which prohibits the quartering of soldiers in private homes in peacetime without the owner's consent. Whatever the ultimate outcome of this case, it is clear that lawyers and legal scholars should start taking the Third Amendment more seriously, commented legal scholar Eugene Volokh. Contrary to conventional wisdom, there is in fact a history of violations of the Third Amendment, such as the military brutal treatment of Alaska's Aleutian Islanders during World War II. In the new case filed just days ago, plaintiff Anthony Mitchell is suing Henderson, North Las Vegas, and a long list of police officials and officers. I hate the word officials, there are servants. Mitchell alleges on July 20th, 2011, Henderson officers responded to a domestic violence call on a neighbor's residence. According to the plaintiff, at 10:45 a.m., defendant officer Christopher Worley, HPD, contacted plaintiff Anthony Mitchell via his telephone. Worley told plaintiff that police needed to occupy his home in order to gain a tactical advantage against the occupant of the neighboring house. Anthony Mitchell told the officer that he did not want to become involved and that he did not want police to enter his residence. Although Worley continued to insist that plaintiff should leave his residence, plaintiff clearly explained that he did not intend to leave his home or to allow police to occupy his home. Worley then ended the phone call. The plaintiff then explains that members of the police department conspired among themselves to force Anthony Mitchell out of his residence and to occupy his home to their own use. According to a report in Court News, defendant officer David Cawthorn outlined the defendant's plan to his official report. It was determined to move to 367 Eveningside and attempt to contact Mitchell. If Mitchell answered the door, he would be asked to leave. If he refused to leave, he would be arrested for obstructing a police officer. If Mitchell refused to answer the door, forced entry would be made and Mitchell would be arrested. Where is private property rights anymore? You know what I mean? Didn't James Madison write a piece on property? You cannot just come and take my property. You cannot just come and take my... And by property, that means what you believe in. You have religious liberty. You have a right to your private property. You do not have to do anything these police want to punk you into doing. It's absolutely unconstitutional and criminal. And these people are getting orders from the New World Order. Let's just put it it's simple as that. There is an agenda behind all of this, you guys. This isn't just coincidence that there's these type of martial law drills going on. The lawsuit explains that at least 5 police officers banged on Anthony Mitchell's front door and demanded he leave, then broke down the door and pointed their guns at him. As plaintiff Anthony Mitchell stood in shock, the officers aimed their weapons at Anthony Mitchell and shouted obscenities at him and ordered him to lie down on the floor. Court documents explain fearing for his life. Plaintiff Anthony Mitchell dropped his phone and prostrated himself onto the floor on his living room, covering his face and hands. According to the plaintiff, Mitchell was subsequently transported to Henderson Detention Center, booked on charges of obstructing an officer and required to pay a bond to secure release from custody. All criminal charges, however, were ultimately dismissed with prejudice. Well, yeah, they can arrest you, but they're going to be going to court, and they're going to lose. If you know your rights, that is, or if you're a bootlicker, you're just going to go to jail and you're just a sucker, okay? You have rights, so you better start to learn how to use them. You better start exercising them, because one of the most vulnerable things being a vulnerable American is being an uninformed American. If you want to be uninformed, you are so vulnerable to all this lawless thug activity that these cops, being paid by your tax dollars to enslave you and acclimate you to the New World Order and just beg for, the breath that the air that you breathe, pretty much, man. You're just being acclimated, you're being conditioned to know that, you're a slave. But you're not a slave. You shouldn't let this, you shouldn't let these people get into your head like that. You shouldn't let them instill fear in you to be ignorant, you know what I mean? It's not empowering to be ignorant. It's not empowering to live in fear and to just bend over to everything, It's a weakness, man. The coward dies 1,000 deaths, man. Every day of your life you're dying because that's what the coward is, man. You're just dying more and more inside because you cannot be empowered. You cannot be informed. You do not want to face the facts. You do not want to stand up for your rights, man. This country did not just get all this liberty on its own, man. People had to die and fight, knowing that they would die or maybe would die. Hey, the longer you want to go down this road, the more chances it is that we are going to have to do that. So why don't we just try to do this and have a peaceful revolution, a peaceful renaissance, and try to get everybody informed, try to go to your congressman and tell them what's up. We got to do this right, or else we're going to have to face tough times. Volok noted for damages to be due under the Third Amendment, the court could have it to decide whether police qualify as soldiers. Well, they're already acting like military soldiers, aren't they? On the other hand, he said many police departments are increasingly using military-style tactics and equipment, often including the aggressive use of force against innocent people who get in the way of their plans. In jurisdiction where the police have become increasingly militarized, perhaps the court should treat them as soldiers for the Third Amendment purposes. Well, there you have it, everyone. It's not time to just fool around and be sitting around not doing anything. Nathan51 commented on this. He said, there needs to be an example made of every pig involved in these illegal raids and seizures. Every one of them should be charged with and convicted of civil rights violations and serve a minimum of 10 years in a federal pen. This would have a chilling effect on any of their thug comrades that have an inclination to repeat these acts. Well, he has a point. And then Paul Brown says, I still refuse to give up my weapons to this Muslim freaking puke. Go back to hell. Go back to the hellhole you came from. And I'm assuming he's talking about the president right there. And whoa, you can't. I'll probably have black uniforms come get me because I'm criticizing the president. Because hey, hail the Führer, hail Obama. You know what I mean? You can't. I've had somebody tell me because I don't support Obama, you must want the terrorists to kill us. I mean, where do you get this schizophrenic paranoia from? The evening news? The cable television garbage that you're watching? Because if you're watching that, you're probably getting this conditioning to be paranoid and schizophrenic and just believe that there's a terrorist under every freaking bush. This is retarded. Get informed, get your shit together, excuse my language, pray for me, because I have a potty mouth sometimes. And if you guys like my video, yeah, I got a lot of passion for this. I'm a libertarian, man. I'm a real libertarian. I'm a real constitutionalist. And I'm a statesman, whatever, man. You guys out there, you guys need to get informed, man. And if you guys ask me, the first way to start doing this is to start going to the right news, the right news sources, man. You got to go to the right ones. You can't be going to these talking pieces, man, for the New World Order. But anyway, subscribe to my video. Come back whenever you want. I got news for you all day, son. God bless you.